Welcome back to the Beyond the Bestseller podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Schuknecht, and today's guest is Lisa Druxman, author of Level Up Your Life. First of all, Lisa, I have to tell you, I think I actually messaged you this when you or somebody on your team reached out about being on the podcast. I was like, you had me at the pink suit.
Oh.
So the cover of your book, I don't know if you've seen much of my branding, but I actually did a photo shoot before I started my company, and I was wearing a full pink suit.
Nice.
And so when I saw the cover of your book, I was like, I didn't even have to know anything else. I was like, yep.
We're pink sisters. All good.
And then you're wearing pink today as well. So
just
anyways,
coincidence.
I don't usually start on a fashion note, but so tell me about your book, Level Up Your Life. Besides you in a pink suit on the cover, what is your book about and why did you write it?
Yeah, so I kind of have to step back a bit. So I'm the founder of a company called Fit for Mom, which is a fitness program for moms across the country. And so I've run that company for the last 24 years. And I have learned a lot as a founder and CEO and really realized that a lot of the things that we do as CEOs, as far as coming up with goals and tracking KPIs, I could apply to my life. And I realized in my own life, but also so many of the women that I was coaching, that people were just living in overwhelm and feeling burnt out, and realizing that there are things that we can do to change our habits and be focused on them and track them and take your life to the next level. Like, Kelly, without even doing the activity, I could ask you on a scale from 1 to 10, what level do you feel like you're living your life right now?
Life in general, or like health, or?
Yeah, so like at the beginning of the book, we do a whole wheel of life activity where we look at all aspects of your life. So if you think of it like a summary or life in general, you're looking at your financial health, you're looking at your fitness and wellness, your career health, relationships. If you were to give your whole life a score, where do you think you'd be?
Okay. I'm thinking.
Yep.
I would say it's a 1 being lowest, 10 being highest, right? I'd say 7.
Okay. And tell me about that.
Yeah. So the reason I would say that is, well, I have gone through a major life shift in the last 8 months, 7, 8 months. So I would say prior to that, I was maybe a little lower down on that scale. I was working in corporate and I was miserable.
Yeah.
And, but I was making great money and my health was like, I could focus on exercising every day. And that was great. Yeah. So like, I feel like I was doing the right things there, but I was like miserable with my job. And then I started my company in November last year and am like extremely happy about everything I'm doing on a daily basis. Like, so that is like night and day. But I have zero time, or I will say, when people tell me they don't have time for things, I'm always like, you have time. It's what you make the time for, right?
Yes.
I'm not excusing it, but like, I literally work all the time. So like, it's really hard to make time to exercise. And that's one piece in my life that I feel like I'm missing. Plus the stress of just starting a business is, a little bit overwhelming. So all of that to say, I would give myself a 7 right now, but I feel like the 8 and 9 is coming soon. It's just like, just over the horizon.
So I love that you're seeing that. And that's exactly what the book would do is like, okay, whatever number you're at, what would it take to get just to the next number? Like, we all want a level 10 life, but like most of us try to do too much, too hard, too fast. And instead we try to get really zoned in on a few habits, a few changes that you can make, track them, create some success. And then next thing you know, you're at an 8. And then the next thing you know, you're living at a 9. So, that's kind of the concept of the book.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually, 2 summers ago, I trained for a marathon. Again, when I was working in corporate. So like I was able to adjust my schedule. And, I did my long runs on the weekends and whatever. And I felt like that was like a time where I was like in the best shape of my life and feeling like I was enjoying outside and I would bring my little dog with me on my shorter runs. And, like that to me was just like, I was loving that. And I'm missing that this summer, but I'm also just aware that like this summer might be a summer that I just don't get to do that. And then by next summer, I'd really like to be back into being able to enjoy my life in that way. But right now it's like, I'm building this company and I'm going to, get it to where I want it to be before I can, relax
Absolutely.
a little bit.
I appreciate that you're recognizing it's a season of your life.
Yes, it absolutely is. But it's a great season. I mean, I also am, like I said, happy to be doing what I'm doing every day. So, okay. So level up your life. So you help people understand or maybe become more aware of where they really are on that scale, and then how to move up the scale based on those habits. I love how you talk about that because I'm a big like goal setter and habit person.
Yep.
And so like I try to always have those goals for myself. That's why I like training for a marathon is like what I have to do, because it's like I need that goal that I'm working towards. Like it's, just going to the gym every day is not going to do it for me. I have to be doing something like working towards something. But I'll set that kind of goal, or like I'm going to get up every morning and do Miracle Morning and do my journaling and those things. But I also can tell when I get kind of out of whack a little bit. Like I'm like, okay, I need to adjust something because this isn't working. And so I'm constantly kind of working with that. But how do you help people know like what goals to set, or like what kind of guidelines do you give them on how to address where they need to level up or what they need to work on to level up?
I love that you asked that. So like I said, at the beginning of the book, we do kind of a wheel of life activity, which certainly I didn't make up. I think it was originally created by Zig Ziglar, and it's been recreated from everybody from Michael Hyatt to Tony Robbins. But the idea is look at every part of your life. We're looking at financial, relationships, health, all these different things. And in each one of those things, you're going to give yourself a score. And then I have you average that out, and that's how you get your life score. But besides that, like you just talked about, that there's an age and season for certain things of your life. What part are you not happy with being low right now? And then the next activity I have you do is come up with your 3 MITs, your 3 most important things. And those can change at different stages of your life. But like right now, Kelly, based on what you've got going on, what are the 3 top priorities that deserve your time and your energy? And from there, everything else aligns. And then I work on how you actually create the habits around making sure that you're making progress in those things.
Yeah, love that. Yeah. Because I think sometimes it's the awareness of things that we're not putting our time into the things that we need to be. I feel like for everyone it has to be like, not everyone, but for most women that you work with, is it often one of the things related to weight or health or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example from my own personal life. I started my company Fit for Mom so I could be a mom first and foremost. Obviously, it's a health and fitness company, so high values are health and fitness and family, right? Well, when this company took off and all of a sudden I'm running this national company, I wasn't taking care of my health or fitness. I was barely present for my kids. And so I realized I was very out of alignment with my values. If you looked at my calendar and how I was using my time, it wasn't based on those things that are most important. So it's like, when I look at any of your calendars, I should be able to see what's important to you. And if it's not, then you feel out of alignment with your values, and that's when you feel overwhelm and burnout and exhaustion. And so when you start to redesign your life so that you're actually creating that's the big rock, right? The things that are important to you, and those are the things that get on your calendar first. Then the things that usually fall off are, like you said, social media, Netflix, maybe depending on the age and stage of your life, like you said, right now it's not a time for you to run a marathon, or maybe right now it's not a time that you're going to have lots of time to go out with your girlfriends. That doesn't mean never, it just means right now that's not the most important thing. So time is our most precious resource. So how how we block it and make use of it is really important.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what advice do you have for somebody like like I said, I am aware that right now I just have to do what I'm doing. Like there's just I built a company from the ground up. I've now got 3 employees. We're hiring our 4th one. Like, it's going to get better. I'm a great delegator. Like really
Yeah.
I am. Like I am
Totally.
ready to be able to delegate as soon as I'm able to afford more and more to be able to bring people on to delegate that work too. But the reality is right now it's I'm kind of wearing all the hats and doing all the things and that's just a part of it.
Yeah.
But like what advice do you have for people who are kind of in that stage and maybe don't see the light at the end
Yeah.
of the tunnel? Like they don't know how to get to a better place?
I think that we have so much of that hustle mentality and that we believe that we have to work really, really hard and put hours in to get success. And I've been doing this for 24 years now, and there are certain times where you really have to dig in. But for most people, they allow that to go on for way too long.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. My advice would be, one is to figure out what is your minimum effective dose of self-care. And what I mean by that is a doctor gives you a minimum effective dose of a medication, meaning the smallest amount we can give you to get the result we want. Well, what is the smallest amount of self-care we can give you to make sure that you feel rested, healthy, well, energized? Maybe it's a certain amount of sleep. Maybe it's a certain amount of exercise. I'm not talking about your ideal. I'm talking about like, I need to get at least a 20-minute workout in, even if it's not an hour. Or I need to get at least 7 hours of sleep. It's not always a fitness thing. It could be, I need to read my Bible each day, or walk my dog each day. Whatever it is for you. You figure out your minimum effective dose of health, and that has to go in first. And then the grind. And then I think the thing that I've learned after a couple of decades of running a business is and I didn't make this up, but I'm finally like realizing it and understanding it. 80% of your results comes from 20% of your work. So let's only do the 20%. Only do the 20%. And so the rest of it could be done and probably should be done by someone else. And if you're like, nope, Lisa, like I am grinding right now because I've got a big project or I'm launching a business or whatever, I want you to put a deadline on the calendar and say, okay, I will do this until 30 days from now, 60 days, maybe 90 days. But after that, something has to change because otherwise that grind becomes your life.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I totally, my current, I don't know, the current thing that is really killing me is my email. I just told one of my team members yesterday, I was like, I'm like an inbox zero person. Like I like
Same.
to, like I go in, clean it out, done.
Yep.
And when my inbox just started like living at 200 to 300, I was like, okay, I probably need to figure out something to fix this. And now I'm in the like 600 plus number, which is like for an inbox zero person, that is like, I can't breathe half the time. I'm like, I've got to fix this problem. Anyways, I've just decided, I'm like, I need to hire a virtual assistant to just handle my email. I can't handle it.
I met a speaker once where he told me, he said, Lisa, the only thing I do is speak and go on vacation. That's it. And he said he will meet with his assistant at the beginning of the year and say, here's how many speaking dates I want to do, and here's all the vacations I want to take. And he said, he goes, I don't even know how to log into my email. So like, it is possible. You are the architect of your life, and you get to decide if this doesn't feel right for you and it's not something you're liking, design something different.
Yeah, it's so hard to imagine that when you're in the grind.
I totally get it.
But like I said, I'm really good at delegating. Like I have no problem doing it. It's really just like as we're in this stage of growing the business, it's like I can only afford so many people to help, but we're getting there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I have to laugh because this morning I was just telling my husband I had blocked all the Fridays off on my calendar for the summer because I was like, I own my own business now, and if I want to take every Friday off, I'm going to, and I'm going to go out and paddleboard. Well, I say that, but Lisa, I say that, and then I keep scheduling my
You have not
overflow
honored
meetings.
your own commitments.
It's not happening. But I was telling him, I was like, it actually the nice thing that it's doing for me is it is allowing me on Fridays to fit in the meetings that I feel are necessary, and I have control of that day. It doesn't just get scheduled scheduled out. But I was like, okay, that's my goal for next summer is to actually honor that.
Totally. I love that. I love that. I want to make sure I hit that a big part of the book is about bringing joy into your life, because I've been doing the goal setting and all of that for a really long time, and I was really, really good at it, and I was getting all the things done, and I was blocking all the time, and that was all great. But what was missing for me was I was living for weekends and I was living for vacations. And I realized, like, this is not how I want to live my life. So again, I'm the architect. I can create something different.
Yeah.
So I really started to make every day places for joy. And so just think about where you can bring micro moments of joy into every day, whether it's lighting a candle behind you or taking a walk between meetings or having a special coffee ritual. But like, it really is amazing to not only love your work, but to actually appreciate every single day and not always be living for what's next. Because, there's a sense of destination addiction. I will be happy when. I will be happy when, I reach that weight, run that marathon, achieve this in my business. But there's always a next when. And so really, one of the big mind shifts for me, and that we talk a lot about in the book, is how to actually be happy right now and how to find joy right now.
Yeah, that's great. So you wrote the book, you started your company, Fit for Mom, and is that still what you're actively doing, or am I hearing that you have maybe another kind of business in there?
Yeah, no. So Fit for Mom is still the core of what I do. So again, we teach fitness classes for moms across the country. We're the franchisor. So we have hundreds of franchisees across the country, a couple thousand instructors, and we teach fitness classes for every stage of motherhood. So if you've ever seen a group of women pushing strollers and working out, that's Stroller Strides. That was our original program and still our flagship program. And so that is still absolutely my focus. But not only have I learned a lot on my own, but we have literally trained hundreds of moms, franchisees, on how to integrate work with life and how to balance work with life. Because most of our franchisees come to us because they want a career that integrates with life, not because they want to work 40 hours a week. So that is still absolutely the core of what I do. But I wrote the book because I'm a sharer, and I always want to lessen the learning curve for others based on what I've figured out. And I appreciate people doing that for me.
Nice. I love it. Well, and it sounds like, tell me a little bit about, this is not normally what I cover in here, but I'm curious about what else you do. Like, you have a very professional presence. You talked about talking with somebody who does speaking. Do you go out and speak at events also?
I do. So like at this stage of the business, I have really designed it so I do what I love and what I think I'm good at. It's kind of the goal that I have for all of our franchisees. Like, you start off where, like you're doing right now, you start off, having to wear all the hats. Maybe you've got a handful of team members. But I really have gotten kind of cued into what are my unique abilities and my gifts. And it usually is speaking, coaching, creating, coming up with new programs, coming up with new things. So those are the things that I do the most of. So yes, I do some speaking as well. And whether it's for our own Fit for Mom group or outside.
That's great. And your book, when did you publish it? I usually have the date right in front of me, but I don't on this one.
It just came out January 2025, so brand new. Yep.
Have you found that you started the business as a mom and helping moms, and now that time has gone by, like, have you found that you're kind of leaning into women in different stages of their life? I mean, when you're a young mom, there's so much that comes with that, and then life changes so much when they get older too, and career changes and all of that. So have you found that you have kind of shifted your focus a little bit on that as you've aged in a way? And
certainly, what always feels most resonant is whatever stage you're in. And so now I'm a 54-year-old mom, and so I'm talking to lots of moms about menopause and perimenopause and different stages of fitness. What has stayed true for me is speaking to moms, versus women in general. I think a lot of what I share is great for women in general, but what has stayed true for me is speaking to moms. I believe so much in the power of moms, and I believe they're raising the next generation of leaders. And I think an incredible gift that we can share is that I want moms to live as they one day want their kids to live. I want moms to stress less, exercise more, have more fun, and model all the things they want for their kids. And it ends up being just a great model, but also just a great way to live.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned at the beginning of the book, you have, is it like a quiz that you take?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you have that available online as well, or is it only in the book?
It's only in the book.
Okay.
In the book, yeah.
Okay, so you have to get the book. Okay, well, I was curious if there's anywhere else to send people to learn more about that. But well, we will link to that book in the show notes. Are there other ways that listeners can learn more about what you do and about the Fit for Mom programs, anything like that, that they can find you online?
Yeah, so if you do go to levelupyourlifebook.com, if you get the book there, we've got a whole bunch of extra bonuses that we give you, including like a whole journaling program and some other things. So definitely make sure if you get the book, you take advantage of the bonuses. If you want to find out more about Fit for Mom, it's fit, F-I-T, the number 4, mom.com, fitformom.com. So whether it's that you want to join a class, become an instructor or a franchisee. And you can find me, I'm Lisa Druxman, lisadruxman.com, but I'm Lisa Druxman on all the social, Instagram and Facebook, and not TikTok. That's one of the ways I have not.
There's lots of moms on there, Lisa. You gotta get on there.
Don't get me wrong. Fit for Mom is. I'm just not there.
Not your vibe.
No, I just can't be everywhere.
Yeah. You got to. Well, there you go. You have to have those boundaries. Yep, those limits somewhere, right? And that's one for you. That's good. All right. Well, what is one last piece of advice that you would give to women professionals who are feeling overwhelmed, who are just knowing that there's a better life out there and wanting to figure out how to get there?
You can't do everything, but everyone can do something. So what's one small shift you can make this week to make you feel more alive and less on autopilot? Love it.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for sharing your book. We'll have the link to the book in the show notes, and it sounds like a great resource for every woman. I feel like I've been overwhelmed at every stage of my life, and it doesn't get better. So like you have to learn how to control that and level up. So thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thanks for having me on your show.
Looking for a community of women writers to support and inspire you on your journey? Join the Author Power Circle. Connect weekly with fellow authors, stay accountable, and move your book forward in an encouraging community. Learn more at kellyschuknecht.com.